Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how to create content that's really captivating.
Content that people actually want to watch and listen to.
Exactly. So we've been digging into a bunch of articles and interviews about this, all focused on how to make podcasts and YouTube channels that not only teach people things, but are actually entertaining.
And inspiring, so they keep coming back for more.
Right. Because, let's be real, people are busy.
We all have limited time.
So how do you create content that people will actually prioritize and make time for?
It's a challenge, for sure. I mean, think about it. There's just so much content out there.
It's overwhelming. So we really need to find ways to stand out.
And one of the things that really struck me was this interview in the European Business Review.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about this one.
It's with Elise de Meyer and Johnny Sorensen.
Okay.
They developed this leadership methodology called Fire and Shield.
Fire and Shield. What's that all about?
Well, fire is all about that passion and drive.
Yeah.
It's what ignites curiosity.
So you're saying content creators need to be excited about their topic?
Exactly. You can tell when someone's genuinely passionate about something.
Oh, absolutely. That enthusiasm is contagious.
It pulls you in, makes you want to learn more.
Like when you're listening to a podcast and the host is just so into it?
Right. But fire isn't enough on its own. You also need shield.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's Shield?
Shield is about providing support, security, creating a space where people feel safe to explore new ideas.
Without feeling judged?
Precisely. It's about making people feel welcome and encouraging them to ask questions.
I think that's especially important for language learners, when you're trying to improve your English.
Definitely. You need that safe space to make mistakes and not feel embarrassed.
So this Fire and Shield thing,
Yeah.
how does it actually work in practice? Like, did they give any examples?
Yeah. de Meyer talked about working with a team that was really struggling.
Oh,
They had plenty of support and structure, so there was lots of shield,
okay.
but they lacked focus and energy, not a lot of fire.
Oh, I see. So they weren't very effective.
Exactly. It's like they had all the right ingredients but couldn't quite put it all together.
So it sounds like you need a balance of both fire and shield.
Exactly. Too much of one and not enough of the other can be a problem.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So how do you find that balance?
Well, I think it starts with knowing your audience and
Yeah.
knowing yourself.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Like, think about the content you enjoy consuming.
Okay, yeah.
Do you prefer stuff that challenges you, pushes you out of your comfort zone?
Sometimes.
Or do you prefer things that are more familiar and comforting?
You know, it really depends on my mood. Sometimes I'm up for a challenge. Other times I just want something light and fun.
And that's perfectly fine. Different people have different preferences,
Absolutely.
and successful content creators understand that. They know how to strike that balance between fire and shield to keep their audience engaged.
So it's about being flexible and adapting to your audience's needs.
Exactly. And there was another great point that Sorensen made in that interview.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
He talked about the importance of a beginner's mindset.
A beginner's mindset
Yeah.
for content creators.
Yeah, he believes that creators should always be open to learning new things.
Like a beginner.
Exactly. Approaching things with a fresh perspective, even if you're an expert.
That's interesting. So how does that beginner's mindset help?
Well, for one thing, it keeps things fresh and exciting for the creator.
And if the creator's excited, the audience is more likely to be excited too.
Right. And it's not just about staying up to date with the latest trends.
What else is it about?
It's about being willing to experiment, trying new things, constantly asking yourself, how can I make this even better?
So always be innovating.
Exactly.
So we've got Fire and Shield as a foundation for engaging content. What other insights did we find in our research?
Well, this interview with Professor Omar Tulin from IMD Business School was really fascinating.
Oh, what was that about?
They're doing some really innovative things with AI in their MBA program.
AI in education. Huh. That's pretty cutting edge.
It is. They've actually developed this tool called IMD GPT.
IMD GPT. What's that?
It's an AI tool that personalizes the learning experience for each student.
Wow. That sounds amazing. So how does it work?
Well, imagine being able to ask questions and get tailored responses anytime, anywhere.
Specific to your needs and interests. That would be incredible.
Right. It's like having a personal tutor available 24/7.
I could see how that would be really valuable. But I do wonder, does the human element get lost when you bring AI into learning?
That's a great question. And Tulin actually addressed that directly.
What did he say?
He said that AI can automate a lot of things, but it actually makes leadership skills even more important.
More important, not less.
Yep. because you still need humans to guide the learning process, to inspire and motivate.
So it's not about replacing teachers with robots.
Not at all. It's about using AI strategically to enhance the human element.
That makes sense. So it's about finding that balance again, like we talked about with Fire and Shield.
Exactly. It's a theme that keeps coming up.
So how does this apply to content creators?
Well, think about it. You can use AI for things like research, editing, even generating ideas.
That would save a lot of time and effort.
It would. But at the end of the day, it's your unique perspective that matters, your voice. That's what connects with people.
So you're saying AI can be a tool, but it can't replace the human element.
Exactly. It's about finding the right balance. Using AI to enhance your creativity, not stifle it.
Speaking of connecting with people, we also came across this study from Amadeus on the global technology workforce.
Oh, yes. That was a fascinating one.
It was all about what attracts and retains top talent. And apparently, innovation is a huge factor.
Even more so than salary. People want to work for companies that are pushing boundaries and coming up with new ideas.
Which makes sense. It's more exciting to be a part of something that's constantly evolving.
Absolutely. And the same goes for content creators. People are drawn to those who are innovative and creative.
So don't be afraid to experiment and try new things. And the Amadeus study also highlighted the importance of training and development opportunities.
Especially in a field like technology that's constantly changing.
People want to keep learning and growing.
And content creators can play a big role in that by providing their audience with valuable resources and learning pathways.
So it's not just about entertaining. It's about educating and empowering your audience.
Precisely.
And Amadeus themselves are a great example of this. They've made a big effort to foster inclusivity within their company.
Creating a welcoming environment for people from all backgrounds.
And that really came through in this study. They found that people want to work for companies that value diversity and inclusion.
Which is fantastic. It's something we should all strive for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it sounds like content creators should think about the kind of community they want to foster.
Right. Do you want a diverse range of voices and perspectives, or a single narrow perspective?
For me, diversity is key. The more perspectives I encounter, the richer my understanding becomes.
I couldn't agree more.
So we've talked about passion, support, innovation, and inclusivity. What other gems did we uncover in our research?
Well, this article on reverse backstabbing really caught my eye.
Reverse backstabbing. That sounds kind of ominous. What is that?
It's actually a positive thing. It's all about spreading positivity and acknowledging the good in others.
Oh, so it's like the opposite of backstabbing.
Exactly. Instead of tearing people down, you're building them up.
I like that. So how does it work in practice?
It's about intentionally highlighting people's strengths and accomplishments.
In sharing those with others.
Right. And the article gives a great example of a woman named Sophie who learned the hard way about the importance of championing herself and others.
Oh, what happened?
Well, Sophie was incredibly talented, but she was also very humble.
She didn't like to brag about her accomplishments.
Exactly. And as a result, her boss didn't realize her true value until it was too late.
That's a shame. We could all use someone singing our praises in the right places.
Absolutely. But it's also important to remember to champion ourselves.
To highlight our own strengths and accomplishments.
Exactly. So reverse backstabbing is a way to build others up and boost morale.
Sounds like a win-win. What else did we find?
This piece by Adrian Furnham on matching personality traits to ideal jobs was quite interesting.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that one.
He suggests that someone's dark side can actually be a strength in certain professions.
Dark side. You mean like negative personality traits?
Well, not necessarily negative, but perhaps unconventional.
Like what?
For example, research suggests that narcissists might actually excel in management roles.
Really? Narcissists? That seems counterintuitive.
I know, right? But think about it. Narcissists are often very charismatic and confident.
Okay.
And those qualities can be helpful when leading a team.
I can see that. So it's about finding the right fit, the right environment for your unique traits to flourish.
Exactly.
So it sounds like dark side traits aren't always a bad thing. It just depends on the context.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's all about finding the right balance.
Right. Whether it's Fire and Shield, AI, and human interaction, or even embracing your dark side.
It's about understanding your strengths and weaknesses and finding the right environment where you can thrive.
And where you can contribute your unique talents and perspectives.
I like that. So how can content creators apply this dark side concept to their work?
Well, I think it's about finding your niche.
The area where your unique voice and perspective will resonate with an audience.
Exactly. Embrace what makes you different and use it to your advantage.
So don't be afraid to be yourself, even if you're a little bit dark side.
Exactly.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground here,
Mm.
and it's also relevant for anyone looking to create captivating content.
It is, and I think we've just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore.
There is. This research we found about emotions in politics really got me thinking.
Oh yeah, what was that about?
It's by this researcher named Anna Rostomian,
Okay.
and she argues that emotions play a much bigger role in politics than we often acknowledge.
That's interesting, because we tend to think of politics as this very rational, logical thing.
Right, but emotions are actually super powerful when it comes to swaying public opinion.
And influencing voters.
Exactly.
I mean, think about the impact of a really powerful speech.
Right, it's not just the words themselves, it's the emotion behind them that really resonates with people.
Totally. And actually, Rustamian breaks down the different types of emotions that are at play in politics.
Oh, like what?
Well, she talks about positive moral emotions,
Mm.
like compassion and concern.
Okay.
And then there are negative moral emotions,
Hmm.
like disgust and contempt.
Interesting. So, as content creators, we should be thinking about the kinds of emotions we're evoking in our audience.
I think so, yeah. Do we want to inspire hope? Or maybe tap into people's frustrations?
It's a delicate balance. We don't want to manipulate people's emotions.
Right.
But we also can't ignore the fact that emotions influence how we process information and make decisions.
So how do we strike that balance? I mean, how do we use emotions effectively without being manipulative?
Well, I think authenticity is key.
Authenticity.
People can spot a fake a mile away. They want to see genuine emotion, not a performance.
So be yourself, be passionate, let those emotions show.
Exactly. I think that's something that Rostomian emphasizes as well.
Wow.
She talks about the importance of authenticity in political communication.
So it's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it.
Right. People want to connect with real people, not with some carefully crafted persona.
And I think that's true for content creators as well. People are drawn to authenticity. It builds trust and credibility.
Totally. Okay, ready to shift gears a bit?
Yeah, sure. What's next?
We found this really interesting article about Japanese company structures.
Okay, what about them?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me was their strong emphasis on expertise-based management.
Expertise-based management. What does that mean?
So instead of promoting people based on their general management skills,
Yeah.
they prioritize deep technical knowledge.
Oh, so the people making decisions are the ones who really understand the intricacies of the business.
Exactly. They're the experts.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, especially in industries that are rapidly evolving, like technology, for example.
It does, and it ties back to what we were talking about earlier with that beginner's mindset.
Right. To stay ahead of the curve, you have to stay informed. You have
Yeah.
to keep learning.
Exactly. And the article also highlighted the importance of meticulous attention to detail in Japanese business culture.
Oh, yeah. Like what kinds of details?
Well, everything. From the way products are designed to the way customer service is handled.
So precision and quality are really important to them.
They are, and I think we can learn a lot from that as content creators.
Yeah? How so?
Well, it's easy to get caught up in the big picture and overlook the small details.
Right.
But those small details can actually make a big difference in the overall quality of your work.
So it's about paying attention to the little things.
It is, and making sure that everything is top-notch.
I can definitely see how that would apply to content creation. Like proofreading carefully, making sure the audio quality is good, all that stuff.
Exactly. It all adds up.
But I'm curious, did the article mention any downsides to the Japanese model?
They did. They pointed out that this emphasis on expertise and attention to detail can sometimes lead to rigidity.
Rigidity?
Yeah, like lack of flexibility. And that can be a problem when companies are trying to adapt to rapidly changing markets.
Or when they're expanding globally.
Right. So while there's a lot to admire about the Japanese approach,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all solution.
So it's about taking the best aspects of different models and adapting them to your own situation.
Exactly.
Okay. What else is in that stack of yours?
This next article is all about corporate governance in startups.
Corporate governance. That sounds kind of dry.
I know, right? But it's actually really relevant for anyone who's trying to build a successful business or even just cultivate a thriving online presence.
How so?
Well, good governance is all about creating a framework for solid decision-making
Okay.
and risk management and long-term sustainability. It's essential for any venture, big or small.
So it's about having a solid foundation in place. so you can make good decisions and avoid costly mistakes.
Exactly.
Okay, so what are some of the key principles of good corporate governance?
Well, one of the things that the article really stressed was the importance of a diverse and balanced board of directors.
The diverse board. Why is that so important?
Well, having people with different perspectives and skills and backgrounds,
Yeah.
it challenges assumptions, and it ensures that all angles are being considered.
So you're less likely to have blind spots.
Exactly. And it's not just about having a board, it's about having an engaged board.
Meaning what?
A board that's actively involved in the decision-making process, providing valuable input and holding the management team accountable.
So it's not just a rubber stamp,
Definitely not. And that ties into another important principle of good governance.
which is
Transparency. Being open and honest about what's going on in the company, both internally and externally.
so everyone's on the same page.
Right. And that builds trust, which is essential for any successful venture.
Makes sense. So to summarize, good corporate governance is about having a diverse and engaged board,
Right.
being transparent and accountable,
Yep.
and working together towards common goals.
You got it.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this applies to content creation as well. I mean, if you think of your online presence as a kind of business,
Yeah, it is a business in a way.
then good governance principles can help you make better decisions, manage risks more effectively, and ultimately achieve greater success.
Absolutely.
So what's next on our corporate governance journey?
Well, this next article dives into the world of sustainable control systems.
Sustainable control systems, that sounds intriguing.
It is. It's all about weaving ethical practices into the very fabric of an organization.
So it's not just about having a corporate social responsibility program.
Right. It's about going beyond that, making ethical considerations a part of every decision that's made.
And how do sustainable control systems do that?
Well, they're essentially policies and procedures designed to integrate ethical considerations into daily operations.
So it's about baking ethics into the system itself.
Exactly. And the article cited a really interesting study that showed that companies with strong sustainable control systems were less likely to manipulate their earnings.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about doing the right thing.
Right.
It can actually be good for business.
It can, because it builds trust with investors. And
Yeah.
that's essential for long-term growth.
Okay, sustainable control systems. I'm filing that one away for future reference. What's next?
This article about the ESG phenomenon is pretty relevant to what we've just been talking about.
ESG. Refresh my memory. What does that stand for again?
Environmental, social, and governance.
Right, right. So it's a framework for assessing a company's sustainability and ethical impact.
Exactly. But the article pointed out that a lot of companies are focusing too narrowly on the environmental aspect.
Oh, really? So it's become a bit of a marketing buzzword.
A little bit, yeah. But the real power of ESG lies in the interconnectedness of all three components.
The environmental, the social, and the governance.
Right. They all work together. And the article gave a really cool example of this.
Oh, tell me about it.
It was about this project in Haiti called the 166 Project. It involved rebuilding communities after the 2010 earthquake.
Okay.
And it was a fantastic example of ESG principles in action.
How so?
Well, they didn't just rebuild homes in an environmentally responsible way.
Okay.
They also addressed social deficits and established good governance practices within those communities.
So it's a holistic approach.
It was. It wasn't just about checking boxes. It was about creating lasting positive change.
I like that. So ESG isn't just a checklist. It's a different way of thinking about business and development.
Exactly. It's about thinking about the long-term impact of your actions.
And how those actions affect the environment, society, and the way businesses are governed.
Right. And I think it's something that all content creators should consider as well.
Oh. In what way?
Well, how does your work impact the world? Environmentally? Socially? Are you promoting ethical values?
Those are some big questions.
They are,
Huh.
but I think they're worth asking.
Okay, we're getting close to the end of our stack of sources here. What else have you got?
This last one is about the ARC Innovation Center in Israel, and it's super inspiring.
Oh, why is that?
Well, they're doing some really incredible things in healthcare technology.
Healthcare technology. Tell me more.
Well, they're developing and implementing new models of care that combine technology with human-centered design.
So it's not just about cool gadgets.
No, it's about using technology to make a real difference in people's lives.
Like what?
Well, they're working on things like AI-driven diagnostics, telemedicine, and personalized care.
Wow, that's amazing. So they're using technology to improve the quality of healthcare.
They are. And they've also launched this incubator program called MBRC to support health tech startups.
Oh, cool. So they're helping these startups grow and make a
Sure.
real impact on the world.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. So even in the midst of conflict and economic challenges,
Right.
there's still so much innovation and positive change happening in the world.
There is. It's really encouraging.
It is. It really is. And speaking of innovation, you know what else caught my eye?
What's that?
This article about the Olympics.
The Olympics.
Yeah. Specifically how digital technologies are changing the games.
Oh, yeah. That was a cool one. The Olympics have always been a showcase for new tech, haven't they?
They really have. I mean, think about broadcasting alone.
Right. From radio to TV to streaming, it's come a long way.
It has. And the Paris 2024 games, they really upped the ante.
They did. They really embraced digital in a big way.
And they used it to create a much more engaging experience, both for athletes and for fans.
Yeah, for everyone involved.
So what were some of the highlights for you?
Well, I was really impressed with how Alibaba used cloud technology.
Oh, yeah. What did they do with it?
They used it to streamline data sharing and prevent crises during the games.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Keeping everything running smoothly behind the scenes is essential.
It is. And they also integrated AI into the broadcast in a really innovative way.
AI in the broadcast. Tell me more.
So they used AI editors to create personalized highlight reels for different audiences.
Whoa. Personalized highlight reels. How does that work?
Well, they can tailor the content to specific languages and preferences.
So instead of just seeing a generic highlight reel, you get one that's curated just for you.
Exactly. It's like having your own personal Olympics channel.
That's incredible. As content creators, I think we can learn a lot from that. Imagine being able to create personalized content for different audience segments.
It's the future of content, right?
I think so. It's about creating an experience, not just delivering information.
Right. It makes people feel seen and understood,
And it builds a stronger connection with your audience.
which is ultimately what it's all about.
It is. And it's interesting because the Olympics also showcased how technology can promote diversity and inclusion.
Oh, absolutely.
Uh,
Did you read about that AI-powered platform from Deloitte?
yeah. The one that gives coaches and athletes all over the world access to game videos and data,
That one. It's all about leveling the playing field.
giving everyone the opportunity to learn and grow, regardless of their location or resources,
I love that. It shows how technology can really break down barriers.
and create a more equitable world.
Exactly. So much good can come from this stuff if we use it wisely.
I think so too. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we?
We have.
From leadership principles to AI and education, from corporate governance to sustainable control systems.
And even the Olympics.
It's amazing to see how these seemingly disparate topics are all connected
They are. It's all about finding those connections.
and applying those insights to our own lives and work.
Right. So if I had to sum up everything we've talked about today, I'd say there are 3 key takeaways for content creators.
Okay, I'm listening. Hit me with those takeaways.
Number 1, authenticity is paramount.
Be yourself. Be passionate.
Exactly. Let your unique voice shine through.
Okay, what's number 2?
Innovation. Don't be afraid to try new things, push the boundaries, experiment.
Love it. And number 3,
Be mindful of your impact. Think about the values you're promoting. Ask yourself, am I contributing to a more inclusive and sustainable future?
those are some powerful takeaways. And I think they apply to everyone, not just content creators.
I agree. We all have the power to make a positive impact on the world.
So in a world that's saturated with information, how will you stand out? How will you make a difference?
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves.
It is. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap things up.
Sounds good to me.
It's been an incredible journey exploring all these fascinating ideas with you.
Likewise. Always a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this adventure. Keep those amazing ideas flowing, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.